I don't want to have to miss all this stuff. Like, how can I still create something? Like, how is this business scalable? And how can I, in a way, I guess, take a little bit of a step back so that I'm able to enjoy my weekends and my life?
Yeah.
Because that's where Cloud Studio was dreamed up, was, being overwhelmed with work. And, how can I also bring on other artists? Similar, I'm sure, to you with the Wedding Painter's Blueprint. It's like we have all this knowledge and we're literally, sharing it with everyone. But it was hard for me because I'd have artists that would ask me all these questions. They'd start their business, and then I'd refer to the couple would come back to me and be like, I've emailed them 3 times and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's where I saw the lack in the market of wedding painters, of like, oh, and I thought, okay, this is what we need to work on. And I realized, maybe what if I train the artist? What if I, handle all the communication with the client? Because a lot of artists love to paint. I mean, and they want to be painting. They don't want to be on their computer. And I love that side of it. So I thought, this is where I want to grow. Like, so yeah, it's always evolving and I love it. I love that every day is different. And I love this opportunity of supporting artists and following their dreams and, helping them where I can. And it's been an amazing journey.
Welcome to The Composed Artist, the podcast where we explore the intersection of artistry, entrepreneurship, and self-improvement and continue to pursue a more composed life. I'm your host, Stephanie, an artist specializing in live wedding painting, living in the vibrant and soulful city of New Orleans. Over the past decade, my job has taken me all over the world, meeting and creating art in front of thousands of people, and has allowed me to create a colorful life for myself and my family. Now, I help other artists build confidence, develop their techniques, and fall in love with the art of live wedding painting. I invite you to join us for inspiring stories of creative journeys, practical tips for running a successful art business, and honest conversations about the joys and challenges of running a studio and being a parent. This podcast is here to keep you company, keep you entertained, and is full of resources to help you on your journey to create a business that feeds your soul, makes an impact, and is insanely profitable. The Composed Artist is the podcast for the bold, creative, passionate, and genuine artist. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Composed Artist Podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm your host. Today, we're going to be chatting with my friend Chloe Campbell. She is a live wedding painter, and she is the founder and heartbeat of Cloud Studio Agency. Chloe is both a successful artist herself and an accomplished business owner, breaking the stigma of what it means to be an artist. Emboldened and encouraged by family and friends to break the mold and pursue art as a career, Chloe graduated from famed design school, Savannah College of Art and Design. After her first experience painting at a wedding, Chloe's business took off and was ignited by word-of-mouth referrals about the beautiful, timeless keepsakes the couples received at the end of their special days. But beyond her own artistry skills, Chloe dreamed about using her sharp business instincts to support other entrepreneurial artists so that they could do what they do best, paint. This dream launched Cloud Studio, the agency of live wedding painters. Chloe's passion for building Cloud Studio is not just to provide an incredible, once-in-a-lifetime experience for their clients, but also to partner with artists like her, lifting them up as they cultivate their own style and reach their goals of having a sustainable business as artists. Let's welcome Chloe Campbell. So, Chloe, welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome to the podcast. Good morning. Oh, cheers.
How are you? Cheers.
I'm good. My girls woke me up at like 4:30 this morning. So this is a cup of coffee number 3 for me.
Oh no.
It's like that sometimes.
How old is your oldest?
She's 5.
She's 5.
5, and she tells everyone, I'm 5. I'm Madeline, and I'm 5. So I have a 5 and a 3 and a 1-year-old. And how old is your daughter?
Cora is 6 months.
Oh,
She's growing so fast. I like the idea of having a 5-year-old is wild, but then I think about like Michael and I have been together for 4 years. And so like in 4 more years, she'll almost be 5. And that's crazy.
yeah, it's crazy.
Happens fast.
You think you have a baby. You can't imagine being like a big kid mom. And I
Hmm.
still can't. I still don't believe that I'm a big kid mom. I'm still like,
Yeah,
every now and then I'll like push down on top of her head and I'm like, get small again. Be small again.
I know.
Oh, but it is fun. The conversations are fun and y'all, you get to do things together. And she's so helpful with her
Yeah.
sisters. So that's kind of the chapter we're in now is
Hmm.
them playing together. And we're all kind
That's
of enjoying
awesome.
that. It's so fun. It's something to look forward to as
Yeah.
Cora grows up. That's so exciting.
Oh, love it.
So how is your day looking? How does your week look as a live wedding painter and an owner of an agency and all the things that you've got your hands in? Like what's your days look like?
Yeah. So over the past almost decade now of doing this, it's definitely evolved of what my day to day looks like. It used to be that I was head down in my computer for, you know, 10 plus, 12 plus hours a day. And now that I've built out a team and a support system within the team, uh, I can do stuff like this, like record podcasts and know that like things are still running, which I'm beyond grateful for. And it's something that I've been working towards for the past 10 years. So yeah, now my days end up being filled with lots of video calls. I think as like a CEO, I have my hands in a lot of different piles. And so that could look like, being on one-on-one calls with my artist and then calls with my manager and assistant and with our web designer who does like our vlogs and editing and social media. So I feel like right now it looks so much different than it has over the past. And even when I started the business, I was in college, I went to SCAD. And so obviously my days then were so much more different because I was a full-time student. And then by the time I graduated, I was booked out for 2 years. So I was like a full-time student and a full-time artist already, like even as in my senior year of college, which that was like probably the hardest year of my life. So it's always evolving and I love it. I love that every day is different. And I love this opportunity of supporting artists and following their dreams and helping them where I can. And it's been an amazing journey.
That sounds so much fun. I'm more creative minded myself, I guess, more right brained. You can tell because I'm very disorganized and, but still very motivated to do all the things. But I've grown, like I've developed over time, I've developed
Hmm.
this passion for growth and like seeing progress in business. And like I'm money minded in a way that's like I'm money motivated. So like if I set
Hmm.
a number goal, it's like, cool, how are we going to achieve that goal? How are we going to grow to that capacity?
Yep.
And but I'm still very much a little artist person. So you went to SCAD. I'm very envious because when I was 18, 17, 18, kind of trying to decide where I was going to go to college, I considered going to SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, correct? That's
Yep.
what it is. And
Yes.
so tell me about going to SCAD. Like, what was the dream? Was the dream to
Hmm.
be like, did you even know about live painting at the time, or
Hmm.
were you more just like, I'm going to figure it out as an artist?
Hmm. So I I guess art career I think goes back to, I would say, middle school, where before even SCAD, I'm very left brain. That just happens to be like I mean, I am right brained as well, but like I'm very creative, but I'm also very creative when it comes to like business strategy and business growth and all these things. And like, I, looking back, can see that shine through, like, even when I was in middle school and I was setting up on like for the festivals, like I would have my friends come and help me paint like little cute signs in our garage. We would go dumpster diving, find I wanted free supplies and I wanted a free, instead of having to pay for a tent, like at the festival, I would set up on my aunt's like clothing store's front porch, and I'd have all my art out with my like best friends there, and we would sell like a few $1,000s worth of signs.
Oh my gosh.
It would be like, it's fall, y'all, and little fish because it's in crabs. We were very coastal down here.
Yeah.
And so like I would literally like we would all end the weekend with like $1,000 each in cash. And like that was kind of where I think that creative business side started. It just evolved, into high school, but I really never wanted to be an artist until probably my junior year of high school. I wanted to be a dentist. To me, a dentist, what my dad does is like the perfect balance of creativity and science. Like science and statistics were like like the direction I wanted to go. And which is so funny because like it all like, I don't know, it all like came together so seamlessly in what I do now. But my dad was always like, you want to be a mom, and that's going to be the most important job you ever do in your whole life. Think about like you're going to go to college, you're going to have 4 years of dental school, and by the time you get out, like you might want to get married and have kids, and like you're going to have all these student loans, and and I thought like I want to follow in your footsteps. You should be proud of me. But he was like, no, Chloe, you are so good at what you do. You're an artist. You need to go to school for that. And I'm like, but he didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that looked like. And so junior year, my mom and sisters and I all went to New York because if you know anything about me, I like really want to be the best at whatever I do. Doesn't matter what it is. it's I would say a kind of a flaw. It's a good thing and a bad thing.
What's your biggest weakness? I want to be successful.
I want to be the best.
I love it.
And so I'm like, well, I need to go to the best art school. So we took a trip up to New York. We toured Parson, Pratt, and the FIT because I decided I wanted to be a fashion designer. And those were all the best. And I get there and I'm like, I hate this. I hate the city. I can't do city life. Mm-hmm. I learned that very quickly. And I thought, at that point, SCAD was like ranked below all these schools. And I'm like, live 30 minutes from SCAD. And so I was like, that's like, in my mind, and to the people who live around here, SCAD was almost like a community college just because it was so close. Nobody knows anything about what they do. And so I was like really hesitant on going there. And then I toured it and was blown away. It is the Ivy League of art schools. If you have not gotten a chance, for anyone who's listening, to go just tour SCAD, even if you're not an artist, not a student, go just take a tour of their campus. They have restored, I think they own half of Savannah. They have restored every historic building. Every building, every room, every stairwell is a work of art. They hire their students to do everything, and it is absolutely amazing. Like, I highly recommend it for anybody who's considering going there because they teach you not only to be, everyone who goes there is talented. And even if you haven't taken an art class and you go there, like, you will be a successful artist. Like, everyone I know is thriving in their, design field and got amazing jobs, amazing opportunities. So I ended up studying fashion design and was sponsored by Swarovski crystals my senior year for my collection. I was selected to show my collection to W Magazine. Like, I would have lunch. I'd be like, hey, I really want to have lunch with this person. I know they're coming to SCAD. They would set up a lunch with me with this person. And like I based so much of my business off these little moments that I had that SCAD provided me with. So I highly recommend it. I had a great, great time. And I actually started painting weddings my freshman year at SCAD.
Oh, wow. That early. That's incredible. Yeah. So tell me that story. How did you get that opportunity?
So I was 19. It was like spring of my freshman year. And I had a friend who was like, "Hey, Chloe, you can paint really fast." That's because like I'd get to class, we'd have a still life for like drawing one. I'd knock it out in one class and I'd say like, "Okay, like what should I do? Like give me a critique." And the guy'd give me a few things, the professor, and I would be like, "Okay, I fixed it." And he'd be like, "Okay, well, I've designated the next 7 classes to doing this still life, and I really can't give you any more feedback at this point. So I guess bring some homework." And I'm like, "Okay." So, like, that was so, like, people knew that I was quick at what I did and being efficient. I love being efficient. And so I would like come to class with other projects for other classes and get those done. And so people knew that I could paint fast and draw fast. And so I had someone say to me, like, "I saw someone a few years ago painting a wedding. You should try doing that." And I'm from like Hilton Head, South Carolina. It's a wedding, very popular wedding destination. And so I was like, that's a good idea. Actually, like the neighborhood I grew up in, they do weddings at the clubhouse. And so I gave the like manager of the club a call, and she was like also like, well, it's not the man, she was like the venue coordinator. We gave her a call and she goes, "That's so funny that you're asking this because I'm getting married this weekend and I would love for you to paint my wedding." And I'm like, "Okay." And at this point, I think I knew Maggie painted weddings. I don't think I knew you. I think I knew, and then Ben Keys. I think those were, I did a ton of research and I knew of like 2 people that did it. And I'm like, and I think at that point, social media, like really like, that was when we were posting like, I can look back and see like what we were posting on Instagram and it was not anything aesthetically pleasing.
It was like edited photos of our lunch in a
Yes.
square format with a vignette. You
Yes,
remember
that's
that?
exactly what I'm envisioning. Yes. And so yeah, so it was hard to find people at that point. And
Mhm.
so I painted that wedding. I think I did one more for free, or maybe 1 or 2 more for free to figure out if I could really do it. And I also was like, I need to get a job anyways. I'm in college. I could either go wait tables or work at a boutique, or I could do this. Like this happens on the weekends. I could do them, a few here and there. And so I at the time was dating a photographer, which was honestly worked out very well for how I was able to market myself because he would take photos of me and helped me build my website. And then from there, I really just started doing research and finding local planners in Charleston, because at the time I was living in Savannah. And I just started pitching myself as a 19-year-old to all these top planners. And thankfully, Haley Kelly, who's one of the speakers at Layover,
Mhm.
she loved what I was doing and she just started pitching it to all of her clients. And she worked at the time for like the top planner in Charleston.
Mhm.
And that like from the get-go got me in with like the luxury Charleston market. And Charleston's like one of the top wedding destinations in the country. So it was like I hit the ground running. I did not know what to expect. And I think for me, like hitting the ground running was like maybe 20 in my first year, which
Wow.
was a lot. I mean, at the
Yeah.
time when literally I would like I it was very like educational in the beginning. Like I'm on phone calls explaining why this is a cool thing and this is should be like in addition to photography, in addition to videography. Like so I was really having to sell myself in those early years, and thankfully I was getting my homework done pretty quickly. So I had time while I was in
Yeah.
school to get that done. And then maybe 2 years into it, I think I was like junior year, and I was probably doing like 40 weddings a year at that time. And I was
Mhm.
like, dang it, I should have studied painting. I'm like,
Mm.
I was going back and forth of like, should I change my major? But to me, fashion design was really my passion. And I was like, like I I would have had to do another 4 years of school because SCAD is so specific in your major. It would have been starting over. And I did not want to do that either.
Yeah.
Um, And so, yeah, by the time I graduated, I was like booked out for like 2 years and was doing probably like, I think in my prime, I would say I was doing like 65 weddings a year because that was me still working really hard, but also having like a work-life balance and like, because like there was, I mean, there's a lot of years where you miss a lot of things, a lot of important
Yeah.
things. And
Mm-hmm.
so from that point on, I thought, I'm turning down so much work and but also like I I want I don't want to have to miss all this stuff. Like how can I still create something, like how is this business scalable, and how can I in a way I guess take a little bit of a step back so that I'm able to enjoy my weekends and my life.
Yeah.
Because that's where Cloud Studio was dreamed up, was being overwhelmed with work, and how can I also bring on other artists similar, I'm sure, to you with the Wedding Painter's Blueprint. It's like we have all this knowledge and we're literally sharing it with everyone, but it was hard for me because I was like, I'd have artists that would ask me all these questions. They'd start their business and then I'd refer to them. The couple would come back to me and be like, I've emailed them 3 times and they haven't responded. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's where I saw the lack in the market of wedding painters, of like, oh, and I was extremely professional from the start, and I thought, okay, this is what we need to work on. And I realized, maybe what if I train the artist? What if I, handle all the communication with the client? Because a lot of artists love to paint. I mean, and they want to be painting. They don't want to be on their computer. And I love that side of it. So I thought, this is where this is where I want to grow. Like I would rather be like working on deals than in my studio, if I'm being 100% honest. Like there's some days that I'd prefer to do that, maybe one day a week, but like the other 4 days I want to be like, on my computer doing all this stuff. Like I love what I do now. This is like truly my passion.
That is so incredible. Like that's an incredible story. I love when you said that your very first wedding that you got was a cold call. Like you did not, a lot of times, a lot of people I talk to, especially like myself as well, it was kind of brought to us the idea to paint at a wedding. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
request from someone we knew.
Yep.
And so it was like a softball to us, like an opportunity like that. But you went to that venue and you were like, hey, I have this idea. I want to, pitch this. And then you said it was the venue director, the coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
who was like, well, it turns out I'm getting married. So it was the perfect
Yeah.
opportunity for you to practice in the space that you are inspired by, like in a wedding hub for
Mm-hmm.
a planner who could very easily turn around and recommend people. That was the perfect opportunity. And I
Oh yeah.
look where it's
Divine
taken you.
planning.
Divine, right? That's incredible.
Divine.
And now you run an agency and now you train, like you really do mentor the girls that work
Mm-hmm.
with you and work for you. And
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing you do the work that is filling your cup. I used to be so scared. I mean, terrified to bring oil paints to a wedding or an event that I was painting at, until I realized that Gamblin has me covered with all of the mediums, the paint thinner, the varnish, the whole gambit. I love using Gamsol as an odorless paint thinner. Okay, this is what I use to wash my brushes to thin the paint. I use a big jug of that to slow the drying time. If I'm trying to finish a painting and layer and do all of that, I use Galkid. It's a very thick medium that I love to use with my oil paints. And let's say it's very dry, it's a very hot and dry environment. I love to slow the drying time with refined linseed oil. This is my medium of choice for my oil paints. And when the painting is dry and I'm ready to send it off to the client, I varnish it with Gamvar, high gloss. That's my preference. And Gamblin has you covered with your preference as well. You can visit their website, www.gamblincolors.com. That's spelled GAMBLIN colors.com, or you can click the link in the show notes to shop my preference for oil painting mediums. Check them out and thank me later. So you are an artist, have always been an artist and a creative. How do you find time to nurture? I know that you said that you really now almost prefer to do the running the business side and the
Mhm.
going after deals and, that kind of growth, right? But how do you make time to kind of nurture the creative side while spending a lot of your time running the business, planning for growth and planning for success for yourself and your artists within the agency, and also
Mhm.
being a mom and squeezing that in too?
Mhm. Yes. I think on like a daily basis, what I need is to like get outside and go on walks. To me, that's
Mm-hmm.
like a little dose of quiet time and me time that
Mm-hmm.
inspires me. Um, and whether that, like, I'm actually working on a personal collection, which I've never done before. And so I feel like when I'm like outside and my work is very like low country inspired, like when I do
Mm-hmm.
my personal work or do commissions with a lot of the interior designers I work with in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like whether it's painting related inspiration or it's business strategy inspiration or marketing inspiration, like I find myself in those quiet moments, whether it's on a walk or on a drive
Mm-hmm.
or traveling. Those are the things that definitely allow me to feel most inspired. And that could be like being with Cora on a walk, like being, it's been too hot this summer. I'm dying for it to cool down so that I can go on
Yes,
more walks.
we all are.
Yes. But and I think that, I mean, going on those walks, whether it's with her or, not with her,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what prepares me for the rest of the day. Like I work in spurts, so I'll like get up early, work for a few hours, take a break, go on a walk, go to a workout class, something, work for
Mm-hmm.
another few hours, go out to lunch or go to my parents and say hi. And then like taking little moments throughout the day is what fuels my creativity to come back and feel refreshed and be like, all right, this is my next task of the day. Let me knock it out because I'll get burnout pretty quickly of like, okay, it's been 3 hours doing the same thing. I need to switch it up. So I can never work on something very long, even if I'm painting. I have like 2 hours. Okay, go do something else.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. So you are able to find inspiration in like quiet moments and like stepping outside, going for a workout. That's wonderful. And I encourage I'm like-minded in that way. I'll go for a walk if I need to get out the studio, just
Hmm.
feel some sun on my face, some fresh air. It's filling in a way that it's almost artificial inside. So when you go outside, I think that's a great idea.
Hmm.
Your artists, when y'all get together, well, let me rephrase your agency. Okay, let's talk about that just for a second. I want to know how you are able to motivate and kind of mentor your artists because they run their own business, like they do their own art. And I
Hmm.
know that they work under the agency, but what are you offering in terms of mentorship or education, or like how are you working with them on their journeys to help them
Hmm.
become more inspired, more skillful, and just more successful as artists and live wedding painters?
Hmm. Yeah. So I think first and foremost, when I started the agency, the first thing I could offer them is a good reputation and a strong brand identity for myself.
Mm,
That was something that was really hard in the beginning of like, where is the balance between I'm not trying to make mini me's or like someone paint like me at all. I was more focused on teaching them how to be professional, how to be business oriented,
mm,
how to grow in this industry because I at this point I have more artists now that have like a BFA or an MFA or something art related, but in the beginning, my three first artists did not have a degree in art, did not really take any art classes in college. And so it was like color theory 101, like
yeah.
from the beginning. And now it's been cool to see how it's evolved, how like now they're mentoring the newer artists and even even just like we have a group chat that I mean, if you look at my phone at any point in time, I probably have like 50 text messages because it's like, wanting a critique on this painting. And like, even if it's like
Yeah.
on a Saturday, what composition should I do? Or what angle should I do? Like, what if I do them here, this here? And like, we're all like drawing on each other's photos. Like, here, put them here. The shadow will cast here, like all of this stuff. And so
Yeah.
over the years, it's definitely evolved. I was very hands-on with training in the beginning, where it was like, we're on video calls every day. I'm teaching you how to mix your paints, skin tones, like everything. To now, we have such a great support system between all of us, and we all want everyone to succeed. And so now it's like we're all helping each other out, which is really cool.
That
So,
is really the community, and everybody has kind of
yes.
the same shared goal. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. It's very supportive, because we both know the act of creating the art it's so vulnerable, and so sharing
Mm-hmm.
that process and sharing any potential, struggles that you may have, like that every artist has. It's like, how do I fix this? How do I overcome this? And sharing that
Yep.
within this community to where your girls can help each other. Not only is it helping you out because you're not having to like hold hands for every single person,
Mm-hmm.
because now you have a bunch of people on your team. How many artists are within the agency now?
12, including me.
That's so many people. I mean, that is a lot of people. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's a lot of options for your clients. But
Mm-hmm.
but then the community is just multiplying, and the
Yeah.
feedback and the encouragement is just multiplying. That's really
Oh,
great.
yeah. Yeah. And I think there's so many benefits to having a group of people. That was another thing I was lacking when it was just me. My
Mm,
first year out of school, I missed the community. I missed the daily feedback because that's how you grow. Like, I see the growth that's happened with even like Natasha and Alicia, who've been with me from the beginning, and Kelsey, and like they the growth they've had in the past almost 4 years versus me in my first 4 years is huge.
yeah.
I mean, I remember like it took me a while to find my style. It took me a while to, I mean, I had the business, but it was like the growth specifically in the painting department has been huge for them because they get that daily feedback. And we're so invested in their growth in their painting skills because they don't have to work on the back end of things. Like, my goal for them is to just have to paint. I mean, they have phone calls with their clients, but like by that point, everything's booked, set, ready to go. And that way they have the time to invest in the craft.
That's awesome. So your artists are able to work one-on-one with their clients. Like they don't the clients know who the artist is, like on
Yeah.
a personal note. I love that. I think
Yeah. Yes.
that's
Oh
something
yeah.
that it's I guess a misconception that some people may think, because some agencies don't operate that way. They just manage
Mm-hmm.
everything and the artist just shows up and there's no connection. And so I'm glad to hear
Oh
that
no.
the artists are
We
working with their
so
clients.
anything, oh yeah. It's really cool to see too, because we have about 50% of the people who, when they fill out like the form online, like they
Mm,
want a specific artist and that's the only person they want. But
yeah.
then we have other people who say, they don't have a preference. They just want to know who's available. And at that point, they could choose. I always really talk, especially if I'm on a phone call with someone, like,
Mm,
this is something you're going to hang on your wall forever. You need to make sure that you love their style of painting. Like, if you want it to look like a photograph, go with, here's a few options. So when people fill out our form, they can either choose the artist that they want or ask for whoever's available. And it's cool to see, who sometimes, if somebody has a video going viral, it's like, oh, you have a ton coming in for this person. And it's fun to, see how everybody's working, or if somebody just did an open house and it's like, oh, we got, 5 people from there. Yay. Like, it was successful. We love that. But as far as like the booking process goes, we handle everything on like the front end of things. And after the client signs the contract and pays the deposit, we hand over all the information to the artist, and they, send a welcome email,
mm.
we use Acuity for booking calls. So like send out a link for scheduling a call. And that's where they get to know the artist and the client like intimately and know like what's important to them for the painting
Yeah.
and all of that. So there's definitely a personal aspect. I definitely don't want it to be something where it's, I mean, if they wanted to, if the clients are like, no, we trust you, and they don't want to have a phone call, like they don't have to.
Right.
But for the most part, we handle all of, even like, I don't know like how other artists do it, but like a lot of times like I've known people, especially in like the Facebook groups that I'm in, you're in. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I've seen messages where it's like, oh no, I forgot to invoice the client for the final payment because I had a lot
Mm-hmm.
going on, and it's stuff like that where it's like they don't have to worry about any of that. They can show up, paint, do
Yeah.
their job with excellence, and have that great connection with the client, which I think this allows them to have a better connection with the client because they aren't worried about all of the, you know, I see a lot of stuff on Instagram where it's like, sorry, I haven't gotten back to you. I'll get back to you by Thursday. And I'm like, I'm so glad that, like, to me, I don't like that because I'm like, hopefully they have at least a 24-hour email that like automatically goes out, like I'll get back to you in 24 hours, 72 hours, something like that,
Yeah.
to like set expectations up with the client. But the nice thing about the girls is they don't have to like get home on a Monday and see, oh, we have 100 emails in the inbox. Like they don't have to worry about that. They just can relax after a busy weekend of travel and recoup and get ready for the next weekend.
Yeah, y'all have a mutually beneficial relationship. I like the fact that the artists are able to connect with the clients so that when they show up for the wedding, they're not just painting a first dance with no
Yeah.
parameters, no emotion. Like they've had the opportunity to talk to the clients. That's the best part of the artist connection with the bride and the groom, is that they're able to kind of not only just set expectations, but align their visions with what the clients really want on their wedding day. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So that's awesome. With 11 other people on your team and you hiring them all out, like everybody's going all over the world, because I follow most of your artists. I know for a fact,
Mm-hmm.
follow them on Instagram, and I'm watching their stories and they're just jet setting all over the world. Do you ever get FOMO? Do you ever
Oh
like
yeah.
envy them for like the job that they were able to book and wish you could have done it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ah,
I There has been so many cool opportunities that like maybe they reached out to me because it's a client I've always, or a planner I've always worked with, and I'm like,
yeah.
dang it. But it's so cool because I still get to see it through their eyes, and like I think about like the amount of cool opportunities that these girls have had that like took me years to build up to, and they get to do it like in their first year or two. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But it's also allowed me, because I was booked out, like I said, for so long,
Yeah.
that now I take around like 20 weddings a year. And now I'm like one of the more available people. So now I'm like, oh yeah, I am available for that. Woohoo.
I know
Which is,
it's like the next part of your life can begin. You set these boundaries for yourself and you were kind of more selective, and now your calendar, I'm experiencing that a little bit as well. Like I took on a lot of things within the studio, and
mhm.
like starting the podcast and education stuff. Like I just took a lot on my plate with that, and so I kind of cleared a little bit more of my calendar moving forward. And now people are reaching out for October and November of this year. And I'm like, actually, I am available. That's kind of fun. It's a fun place to be
Oh
after
yeah,
years and years of being booked out for a year and a half. So I feel
exactly.
you with that. So you are still taking weddings. You're still, because you were just at a wedding recently doing, like this past weekend, weren't you? Doing guest
Saturday.
portraits.
Yep.
Did you enjoy that? Were you happy to be there?
I enjoyed it. Yes, I had a
Yeah.
great time. It was a nice little break. And I love doing the portraits because I studied fashion design, so I feel like that's a little bit of like, I don't go like full fashion illustration mode just because like I'm mindful of like grandma when grandma comes over, like she doesn't need to be a nine-head supermodel.
Hmm. Yeah.
Even though she looks fabulous, like we'll make her like proportionally be a little bit more accurate
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And that's something that I've talked with my team, like how we operate on that end. But no, I love doing the illustrations, and I also love that when we do the illustrations, a lot of times we always quote based on a guest count. Like if somebody has 300 people, like there needs to be 3 artists there. And
Yeah.
so we're very mindful of that. And so it's fun because that's like when I get to work with other artists like on the team, and they get to come, maybe it's here and they get to come spend the night at my house, or we're in Charleston, and like it ends up being like a fun little girls weekend and we go out to lunch or dinner, and like that's I love doing that. So I'm always excited when we book with me and another artist, or even just to see the other artists working together is really fun.
What a fun gig. Like, that sounds like so much fun. I love the community that you've built within the agency, and it sounds like y'all are all very close. And now you are providing an opportunity for artists around the country, not just within the agency. You're providing an opportunity for everyone to get together through your conference, through your in-person live wedding painting conference. Tell us all about it.
So Layover is a immersive in-person experience for live painters to come and gather and be inspired and learn and create together. So we're going to have some amazing speakers, one being Stephanie. Um, and this is the first time we're doing this. So it's been a really awesome like learning curve as, we launched, and as just starting from the planning process. It was my little passion project that I worked on during my maternity leave. Honestly, kind of before it. We kind of started it like in the winter time, and then really, took some action steps during my maternity leave when I had some more time. But Layover is scheduled for January 28th through 30th of 2025, which is so exciting, in Charleston. It'll be at the William Aiken House, which is one of our most popular venues. It's so beautiful. It's in the heart of downtown Charleston, right on King Street, where everybody wants to be, all the shops, restaurants. So on top of like learning from some of these amazing live painters and wedding industry professionals that will be there, like it's just going to be a good time as well.
Oh my gosh. What are you looking forward to the most?
Truly like meeting everyone. Like
Yeah.
after doing this for almost a decade, like we've made so many friends online and we've never gotten to meet in person. I think I've maybe met like 2 or 3 other live painters in person over the past 8 years, 9 years. And so to like actually be able, and to like it be more than just like coffee or a drink, like here and there. Like this is actually like, we're going to be able to spend 3 days together and just have shared experiences, like talking about shared experiences of like being live painters, but also like sitting at a table, coming together, and like having really intentional conversations. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm honored to be there, but I'm honored that you invited me to share some sort of knowledge. So I'm going to be hosting a workshop. I love working with my hands. I think I retain, like I doodle when I'm learning, when I'm taking notes. I doodle and I work things out on the paper. And then when I'm outside painting in plein air, like I really like doing all these studies, and I learn best when I'm like actively implementing as I go. And so I really am excited to during the workshop actually like share some information. We will be announcing the topic very soon. Not yet. We're still kind of workshopping the workshop idea. And so I'll be teaching so that you can take notes, you can learn something, and then there will be a point in time where we can all implement what you've learned. We will have material like art materials. I love new art supplies, and we're going to be supplying some of that for the attendees, and then we can actually work with our hands and then take something home. And I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to dining and having a couple of drinks, like the social element of it. I'm excited for the like breakout sessions where we can just really dive deeper with like a focused topic. I've been waiting for this for years. So thank you so much. Where can people go to read more about Layover?
You can check out our website, which is www.layoverevents.com/Charleston. That has all of the information specifically on Charleston and the whole website. I mean, there's loads of information on there, but our goal is to we're going to be layovering. I'm turning that into a verb. We're going to be layovering all over the country and maybe one day world. So I think if you're in another city, definitely travel in, but also let us know where you want us to go next, because we've got some things up our sleeves for that as well. So we're so excited. And then you can also find us on Instagram at Layover Events.
That's
So
awesome. That's so exciting. I love the concept of hosting this one in Charleston and then opening the door for other locations, because this world is a vast and beautiful place. So this is very exciting, and it'll make it feasible for people in other areas who maybe aren't able to travel in. I love that. Thank you for that. Would you please share the deadline for enrollment so that everybody, because whenever this episode comes out, the enrollment will be open, but then it will come to a close, and then it'll be closed for until the next opportunity for the next event. So share the enrollment window, please.
Yes. So enrollment will close on October 30th.
Okay.
So that allows us to have a few months to get all the final details squared away and meet you in Charleston.
Yes, that's wonderful. And so the event is January 28th through the 30th, correct?
Yep.
And enrollment closes October 30th.
Yes. And we have a room block for anybody who wants to take advantage of that. It's a discounted room rate at the Emmeline Hotel for $249 a night. That is a steal for downtown Charleston. But also, there's so many Airbnbs, and we really want to encourage people to come together. I think we all have a best friend in this industry, and so the idea of coming together, sharing a room, sharing a Airbnb with a group of people, you do not have to stay at that hotel. We just are having our first night of cocktail hour at the Emmeline. So that was one of the reasons that we wanted to make it really easy for everybody to get there. And it's a really fun, beautiful hotel and a local Charleston hotel. I'm all about supporting the local market. And they are one of the new cool hotels that are local to Charleston.
And it'll be a fun opportunity for us vendors who travel to work mainly, for us to be the recipient of the experience for the event. I'm looking forward to that. And just for artists who are listening and considering going to Layover, because it's an educational conference, it will be fun and it will be sociable, but you're going to learn stuff. And so the ticket can be considered a business expense. So check it out and check out the payment plan option. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all there. So thank you for sharing that about Layover, Chloe. I'm excited.
Yes, of course. I'm so excited.
Are you still using cheap art supplies? Look, you don't have to tell me, but if you want to level up, you have to use better supplies. Come on, let's invest a little. I've been using Rosemary and Company for my paintbrushes for the past 5 years or so, and I have never thrown away one of these brushes. The quality is unmatched, and they're reasonably priced. I hate to say it, but they're the best. So I love a long handled paintbrush. Okay. I love a hog hair or an ivory, which is kind of a mixed bristle hair. And Rosemary and Company, they have so many options. So I would check them out. The website is www.rosemaryandco.com. That's Rosemary spelled Rosemary and co.com. Or you can just click the link in my show notes and it'll take you directly to my personal wish list. It's all the brushes that I use and recommend. So check them out and thank me later. So I wanted to ask you, I have a few questions for you, and these are questions that I want to ask all of my guests on the podcast moving forward. But it's something I really want to know from you as a friend and an artist. What is one skill that you learned in a previous job that prepared you for your current role? So I'll clarify your current role as a live wedding painter and business owner.
I think two things. Two prior jobs that I had. One being when I was in high school, I worked at my aunt's boutique. And I think you definitely learn customer service in that industry and learning like the customer's always right. And which is a frustrating a lot of the time. But like, I think maybe the better way to say that is like, it's okay to just take the blame. I hear of artists or just people in other industries all the time. It's like people constantly want to just like blame it on something else, whatever the issue is. But it's okay to just be like, you know what? Even if it's not your fault, I do this all the time. I'm like, I am so sorry for that. Like that is my fault. And I think that's just like in a way, just like being the bigger person and just like accepting, like taking the blame and then moving on, like coming up with a good solution for whatever the issue is. Like we had a lady come in, I remember, who brought in her necklace that was all tangled and said it was our fault. And she bought it 2 years ago. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's not our fault. I think you just put this in the drawer. But it was like, okay, how did we, like, we still want to keep her happy and we still want her to continue to shop here. Like, how can we like provide a good solution and hope that this doesn't happen again? And so I think I took a lot of knowledge from like the customer service aspect of it from that job. And then another job before I started Cloud Studio, I was in this in between of like feeling really lonely. I graduated college, was feeling really lonely at home because I was just sitting on my computer working during the day and then traveling on the weekend. So that was probably the most time in my life that I had the most free time. And so I decided to get my real estate license because I thought, oh, like I would meet people. And also, like, I thought that was a good transition, like people getting married and then people need to
Yeah.
buy a house. So, like, maybe they would hire me. And I also started hiring artists at that point, too. So it was like not a good time to start being a real estate agent. And I also did not like it at all.
Mm.
But working in that business gave me a lot of inspiration for how to structure my business, like Cloud Studio, as far as like having being a broker. And real estate agents are subcontractors of,
Mm-hmm.
so like they all own their own businesses and they are contracted work. And so like I got a lot of ideas just sitting in the office learning from either people that were agents or from the broker. Like I sat in on a lot of meetings and like just learned a lot from that. So I think as far as how I structured my business, I took a lot from that job.
That is
Um,
so interesting. I mean,
mhm,
first of all, what a wonderful way to like capitalize on the industry. That's such a business forward way of thinking. Like, what else can I do that is kind of, I don't want to say low effort because it can be a lot of work, but just
mhm,
simply getting your license and then being able to help your clients in the next step of their journey
mhm,
in life is so smart. And you are very clearly business minded, and your your desire to be the best is it's shining. Like I'm very impressed by that. That's so interesting. And then also understanding the structure of the brokerage, with the
mhm,
agents below it. I mean, that is such an already established successful way of running like an agency. And so
mhm,
that just shows me and everyone listening that you did your research and you didn't just think, what's an easy way for me to make money? But you wanted to
yeah,
help other artists, you wanted to provide a platform for them to succeed, and you did so in a way that allowed them to reach their full potential and have their own
mhm.
companies and take ownership of their clients and their work. And I'm so impressed by that. I love that. That's not something I've heard you talk about before, and I'm surprised and not surprised because that's you definitely are the consummate professional. But it's just so interesting knowing that about you.
Yeah, I
What?
think I've definitely taken inspiration. Like, I feel like there's so many different like nuggets of information that I've learned. Because I think in order to think outside of the box, I think you need to like be outside of the box and like learn from other professions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, going into anything closed minded is never a good idea. Like, there's always room for growth no matter who you are and what you're doing. And so I definitely think that that inspired me, because also like in the beginning, Cloud Studio as a whole was very like Cloud Studio based. And
Mhm.
like it was because every artist I was bringing on had never done this before. And I wanted them to like take some of the, what I have created for myself, some of that, my reputation. I wanted them to be able to benefit off of the reputation that I had already built. And then, they started creating their own reputation. And now like Cloud Studio doesn't need to be this big, I mean, it is a big umbrella that they all work for,
Mhm.
but also like every artist has their own identity, and I want them to shine through brighter than me. That's one of the reasons I always tell them, like, your success is my success. My goal is for every artist to be more successful than me.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one of the reasons I named it Cloud Studio, because I didn't want my name to be associated with them, because I wanted them to feel their own identity through it. Because Cloud Studio can, like, for some of the artists who are now starting out, like Natasha, for example, she is shining so bright. She's phenomenal. Like, and we still run everything for her, but she has created her own identity. And then we have new artists that we just brought on last week who have already booked multiple weddings because we
Yeah.
already had that. They're using the clout, we're using our reputation to be able to plug them into the industry right away and pretty much hit the ground running.
Yeah, so it's
So,
less of an umbrella and more of like a platform.
yes. Yes.
That's
Love that.
wonderful. Oh, I love that. I love that for you and I love that for them too. What is a secret of yours to staying motivated in all of this? Like it's so much taking on. It sounds like you've got a multifaceted business. I feel you there. It's a lot, and you're a mom, and you're trying to make time for your husband, and your own personal balance, caring for yourself. What is one of your secrets to staying motivated, or like getting back into the motivation cycle after you take a break?
I feel like I feel most motivated when I come back from a break.
Yeah,
Because that does give me time to like think and recharge. Uh, but I'm a numbers person. Like I feel like getting in QuickBooks and running all my reports. I love running my profit loss. I love running my reports that I have for each artist to know, how much they're bringing in, how much they're getting paid, like all these things. And like I have we have a mid-year goal and end of year goal, like planning with the team, because we want to make sure that we are exceeding their expectations for what it meant to come onto the team. And so I think that's something that really inspires me. Like as I see the leads come through every day, I am texting Kim, quote Sloan for that. She's the perfect fit. Or quote so
yeah.
and so for this. Or let's do both of these artists together. And, oh, so and so, their goal for this month was X amount. That'll get them over their goal. And so I think their success is truly, I think, too, what inspires me, because they they're so excited about this. And like I love to hear like, oh my gosh, like this is we even have like dream locations. Like, where would your dream locations be to paint a wedding? We see it come through, we're sending them. Like they are getting quoted for that, and we just pray that they get chosen.
Hmm.
So I think knowing and being intentional with our relationships with the artist and making sure that we are going above and beyond for their needs is also like a huge inspiration.
That's awesome. Yeah, your team is motivated. Like the success of your team is what motivates you. That's thrill. I mean, it's thrilling because I know that you're like very motivated and you're achieving, like you're happy with everything because they are so successful and you've helped
Mhm.
them do that, but they have also like taken the torch and are, forging their paths in this career. Like they're
Yeah.
so successful. So that's
I've
exciting.
had I've had two of the artists leave the medical field to do this full time. And that, like, when that happened, like I think I started crying. I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, cuz so many parents say to, like, choose the safe route, be a nurse or
Mhm.
do this or do that, like in the medical field. And the fact that I'm able to like help support their like truly their dreams coming to life is like it makes everything I do, like that's what makes it worth it, is to know that I am helping and making their dreams come true.
Yeah, because that
And
was not the advice that you received, huh?
no, yeah, that was literally the opposite. I mean, my parents are very supportive, but like the public in general is like, oh, you're
Mhm.
going to do arts and crafts for college.
Yeah.
That's fun. And I'm like, yeah, no comment.
Do you think that that's still the mentality of the general public is, when they see an artist either doing live wedding painting or selling their art like on Instagram, do you think that are you seeing that is still the mindset? Oh, you're just doing your little arts and crafting on the side, or do you think that there's a shift happening in terms of the potential for success and like the perceived success and
hmm
value of what artists do? What are your thoughts on that?
I think generationally, there's definitely still like, if anybody over like probably 50 comes up to me at a wedding, I feel like it's like, "Oh, so what do you actually do to make money?" And I'm like, "Oh, I do this full time." And it's like, "Oh, wow, no way, that's awesome." Like, I feel like generationally, like anybody younger than that, like I feel like they're like, "Where can I find you on Instagram or TikTok?" Or, "Oh, I've seen this on Instagram or TikTok," and like stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like there's definitely a shift happening for the people who, I don't know, maybe are on social media because they see like, I mean, I know you've seen like a shift with social media in the past 3 years of like people now are recognizing us or coming up, "Oh my gosh, I followed you for years on whatever." And it's like, "Oh, no way." Like,
Yeah.
I definitely think there's a shift and that mindset is shifting because now I get people saying, "Ah, well, at least you can paint." Like, I can't do that. Or I can't charge that, or I don't know. They just I see the shift in like their respect for it. Because
Yeah.
I mean but again, I still get like old men being like, if you really want to make money, paint pets. And I'm like, that's a good thought. I'll take that into consideration. That's like what I'm not very good at painting is pets. And I don't
Yeah.
like painting pets. So I always say, here, hire this person to paint your pets.
There you go. So with that kind of growing exposure for
Mhm,
artists through social media, there's a lot of either younger or just newer artists kind of
mhm,
emerging into the space of live wedding painting. Artists are creating their own original work, but they're kind of intrigued by the idea of the
mhm,
opportunity for success working as a live wedding painter, like working in the wedding industry, whether that's
mhm.
like sketches, guest portraits, caricatures, all the different versions of art in the wedding industry. What
Yes.
advice, with like 10 years of experience in this world, what advice do you have for artists who are just now entering the space in 2024?
I think first and foremost, you need to like find your voice and your style, and then find your voice like professionally, like what that looks like, how you communicate with clients and figure out all those things first before I don't know. I see a lot of people that go like 0 to 100. They've been
Mm,
doing this for a year or 2 years, and it's like they're already, starting all these new things when like really I think focus on your craft and your style and doing that with excellence and providing the best customer service possible, the best product possible. And you've been doing this longer than I have, and it's like you I'm all about organic growth. You can't force anything. To me, if you're forcing something into a situation, it's not going to work out very successfully. And so you see where the needs are and you fill those gaps. And I think
mm,
that could look like, how your style evolves and how that is different from other people in the industry. So I think focusing first and foremost on your work is going to then set you apart from other artists, whether it's a different style or, you know, whatever it is. Start small and focus on one thing at a time and doing that with excellence before you move to the next thing, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are getting spread thin because it's like, oh, they're offering watercolor portraits, I should offer watercolor
Mm,
portraits. It's like, it's almost like it's turning into a trend of I'm just going to try what everybody else is doing instead of just getting really phenomenal at one thing.
mm.
Um, because it takes time. Like it took us time, a few years for, I feel like, each little project that, we've worked on with the Wedding Painter's Blueprint. I know that took a few years to dream up and create and then present. Like there's not, I think taking time and not just overdoing it too quickly.
Yeah, and I could not have put together the course that I did. It wouldn't be what it is today if I would have created it after a year of
Hmm.
doing the work, right?
Yeah.
And we've launched it twice now, and every time we launch I add to it. Like we're
Hmm.
seeing what's missing, like we're filling in the gaps of education or critique or encourage, like whatever is
Hmm.
missing at the end of each launch, if you will.
Hmm.
We edit it. So we're making edits now. We're refilming some things so that the next time we launch it in 2025, it's even better. It's like new and improved. And
Yep.
you're doing the same thing for your agency. Like every single day, every single meeting, every conversation you'll have, every critique it's a step forward. And you
Yeah.
had to be very invested and completely immersed in the life of a live wedding painter and running that business before you could offer guidance for other people. And
Oh yeah.
so artists, instead of like comparing yourself to other artists on Instagram, other accounts, if you're just getting started, do the work. Just
Hmm.
paint a lot and post about it and talk about it, right?
Yeah. And I think, yes, I think also like investing in your business as well is like so valuable. Like if that means, you know, getting your course and learning, whether it's like educational based or whether it's efficiency based, like what we were talking about, sometimes you're too busy working in your business to work on your business. And so as you start fine tuning your work and your processes, then taking that next step of, you can't grow without more time. And so what does that look like with growth? Like what are your processes for, do you have CRM platforms built that will help with client communication, contract invoicing? Like all of these things, I think, are what we're lacking in the industry. And it's like how, you've mastered the craft. Now let's
Mm,
master your communication and your, back end processes. And it's like, because as you grow, you're going to get more and more overwhelmed. And I mean, I hate to say it, but like we get so many industry, like, or so many people that say like, "Oh, my live painter canceled on me. My wedding's in 3 days. Like, do you have someone available?" Like the level of professionalism, which is something I think we both promote so much. Like those are the things that artists aren't as good at, and so that is somewhere some advice, like definitely, I mean, come to me, go to Stephanie of like, let's figure that stuff out,
mm.
because also when that stuff runs smooth, you have more time to paint as well.
Yeah, the two go very much hand in hand, being
Hmm.
like well developed as an artist and then being a consummate professional, putting the client experience first, putting the needs of the client, just the experience overall, especially in the wedding industry, especially someone who's commissioning a painting. There's something very personal and emotional about that. And so if you provide just a peaceful, easy, joyful experience and you're responsive and if you make the experience of just working with you before they even get the painting, if you make that so enjoyable, and then they get the painting and it's better than they could have dreamed. Like having those two things, those two elements are just, if you can nail those and continuously work on those. And then if you like fall short, if they're not pleased with the painting, or if you're busy and it takes too long to respond, and like if one client experience isn't the best, then give yourself some grace, for like move on, and then do what you can
Hmm.
to fix that problem or remedy that situation, but then also learn from it and then make better decisions moving forward. Like the ball keeps rolling, days, you'll get a new day, new opportunity tomorrow. So that's really good advice. Thank you for sharing that. So Chloe, how can I help you today? I know we talked about Layover. I know we talked about the agency, and people can learn more about the agency where?
They can check out our website, www.cloudstudioagency.com. And then also Instagram, same thing, cloudstudioagency.com. YouTube, if you want to just know what a day in the life of a live painter is, or a day in our life as live painters, you can definitely check out our vlog on YouTube. And where else can you find us? TikTok. I mean, all the platforms. We're all at Cloud Studio Agency.
That's exciting. I want to go and kind of dive into your vlogs. I may do that while I'm painting later today.
We started the vlog like a year ago, and that's just been like something fun because I'm like, people have no idea what we go through. Like painting is like the 5% of the job. And the craziness of like travel and just you name it. It's just, we just started it for fun, and we're loving it.
It provides kind of a connection to an opportunity for your audience to connect, your clients. Like it's just a step further for people who are following you on Instagram and maybe want to or considering hiring. You are one of your artists, right? If somebody's following Natasha, they can go and watch her vlog, like her, the latest one she put out. And it's just another form of trust building and connectivity and entertainment, honestly. Like it's so fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then what else? Layover. Where can they find Layover?
Yes. Layover is www.layoverevents.com. That's LAYOVER. And then events, EVENTS with an S on the end.com.
/ Charleston to get like the specific, that day.
Yes.
That's so exciting. Yes, please go check those out. And then Chloe, where can people follow you?
You can follow me at by BY Chloe CHLOE Campbell, like the soup, CAMPBELL. That's social media. And I have an artist page. It would be Cloud Studio / Chloe Campbell. Or Cloud Studio Agency / Chloe Campbell for
That's
my
so
artist
exciting.
page.
Yeah, you've got so many different things going on, and I wish you the very best. Thank you so much for being here. Y'all go check out. You're so welcome. Go check out Cloud Studio Agency. It's really interesting seeing the website promoting the different artists. You can kind of get a sense of their experience there. I'm going to be speaking at Layover, where I'm going to be hosting a workshop. I hope to see you there. Again, a reminder, the dates for Layover next year are, and we're in 2024 right now, where hopefully this episode goes out in September of 2024. Enrollment for Layover Charleston closes October 30th of 2024. And the event itself is January 28th, 29th, and 30th. So it's a 3-day, 3-day event. And right now we have a bunch of artists signed up. Do you have any idea about how many people are going to be there?
Yeah, we're at, I think, 37, which is amazing for our first time.
So exciting. Can't believe it. I'm so excited. I can't wait to be in a room with that many people who live a very similar life that I do. We have the same job. We have, like you said, shared experiences. I can't wait to just be in a room with all these people. So please sign up and go to Layover. And then, after, if you're listening to this episode after enrollment has closed, just follow along, follow the Instagram account. And then just stay in touch with Chloe and Cloud Studio. And then you can learn about the next event that they have in the next Layover. And thank you so much, Chloe, for being here. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your week. Go snuggle up with some Cora. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Bye, guys. Thank you for listening.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on this journey of artistic exploration, entrepreneurial growth, and personal development. Remember, you have the power to create a life that is both fulfilled and balanced. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe to The Composed Artist on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a review. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more creatives like you. Until next time, keep creating, keep dreaming, and keep pursuing that composed life. You got this.